of it going to be pro stuff at some point, though?
I'm
not sure what is pro and what's not. Because they mentioned in their...
So the only thing that's not pro, it's just these little islands. So the main thing is you can't change the splash screen, obviously, right? But I think that Justin mentioned to me that threaded rendering is not supported. There's like some sort of tag that he needs to make stuff run a lot better on mobile for VR, and he said that it's not available in Unity Basic.
Yeah, we had that.
Yeah.
I remember we had that problem. But I meant as far as the networking goes, because in their latest changelog, they mentioned that right now everyone can get it for free because they're doing that like preview 100 CCU thing.
Really?
But
I think that only applies to their matchmaking, but I'm not sure.
Are we up on FMLE? It was going to be free, but some of it was also...
Yeah, we should be. We're
Are we streamy?
We're streaming. Yeah.
Are we streamy?
We're streamy. We're streamy.
Are we super streamy?
People are going to see my
initial
beard. All right, let's do this.
Are we starting? Is it starting? Are we starting?
Hello!
Hey.
That was weird. Hello, and welcome to another exciting... Not Breakfast with Unity. Cooking with Unity. Whatever show we do. All right, you do it. Yeah, you got this down.
He is your host, Max Moreau. And with him is Philip Wilson.
That's me!
And Jeffrey Hawthorne. Hello.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting
episode. Good to see you guys.
Episode.
It's been forever.
Yeah,
it's been too long. I will get into the details as to why it's been so long later, but yeah, we're doing the networking thing today. We're doing a new project. We're just doing this thing. We're not getting rid of Scape's not gone away. We will be back with more. One of the things that you will notice maybe is behind me. This no longer has books in it, and the reason is because store's moving. So the next time we broadcast, it very well likely won't be here. So a different backdrop, but we'll see how that goes.
Unless we take pictures and then green screen.
I guess we could do that. We should have done that while there were books in them.
Oh, we can
Looks
take a
more
picture
legit.
of books and then green screen that in.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to look at the new Unity networking. This is available in Unity 5.1. Unity 5.1 is out of beta and ready to rock.
Yeah, I just downloaded it on my computer
today. Yeah, you can download it and you can start playing along. So
you can download it today.
You can download it today. You may have already downloaded it in preparation for this show, but probably not because we didn't give you much time for preparation. So, without further ado, let's get started. Main screen turn on.
It's you.
So, I've started a new project. This is a fresh, blank new project. What?
Yeah, did you say nerd?
Did you say nerd?
Captcha?
All right. So, we're doing networking. We're on Unity 5.1. We can do it about Unity and all this 5.1, 1.0, F3. And actually, if you were on the beta, you probably already have this version. You don't really need to re-download it, but I did it anyway. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our lives easier. So we're going to be doing networking stuff, right? And one of the big tricks with networking is you need to have two computers, usually. So what we're going to show on the show is we're going to show how to do network testing with one computer. And we're going to basically be testing between the editor and between a built version of the game that we can run. And so this is how we're going to do it.
You can actually run two independent build versions too and have it work.
Yes, yeah. It's not too... Yeah, we can probably run multiple instances. We'll play around. This is called a play around. We're going to play around. Also, I have this cheat sheet called magicwords.txt. We may need it at some point. It's just some magic words.
A tutorial.
So yeah, we don't want to have an inception of tutorials here. We're actually basing a lot of our information on the... Unity 5.1, Unity 5.x networking tutorial that was on Unite 2014. I was actually in the audience in that. You might hear me say woo at some point in that video if you ever see it. I recommend checking out the video. It's a little bit different because it's since the release, but it's actually a very good tutorial. And it's probably going to be more in-depth than what we do, but we're going to play with the basics show you that this stuff is easy, and show you how to get some things going.
It has changed a little bit, too.
Yes.
And that it works in the current version that you have at home.
Yes, exactly. So this is ready to rock with what you've got.
Whenever you are.
So we're going to go to project settings, and we're going to make things easy on us first. So we're going to go to project settings, player, and we're going to go into the resolution and presentation section in the downloaded thing here. We're going to choose run in background. This is going to be important because we're going to be running 2 instances of this. We need to make sure that it's doing stuff when we are on one screen or the other. The other thing that we're going to do is resizable window. This isn't required, but we're going to make this so that it's easier to see both sides of the screen by just docking things. We're going to use, we're just going to do one of these things and have it on one side and the other. So that's the main thing that we're going to change first. So we're going to do that, and we're going to save the scene. And we're going to call this test, whatever.
Should be called network test, but
whatever. We know that it's network test because it says networking play. I don't know, whatever. So we're going to create a cube. This is going to be a player.
Oh, remember to not turn off Better Stab tool.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, good point. Good point.
It does like to harass you.
But I actually want it this time.
Yes.
So thank you for that reminder.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we've got a cube, and we're going to make a really simple script. We're just going to call it move. And we're going to make this cube move left and right. And I'm going to go ahead and do public string. We'll do this right. I did it simpler when I was testing it earlier. Public string axis equals horizontal. And what we're going to do in update is transform. We've done this a lot. Dot position. Plus equals, we're going to do vector 3 dot right, so this will move it right on the screen, assuming we don't move our camera around, but we're not worried about that right now. Vector 3 dot right times, oh yeah, we need speed, so let's make a public float speed equals 1.0 f, so that it will do something, speed times time dot delta time. So all this does is it moves it along the
times horizontal.
Right. Oh yeah, we didn't actually put the input part in here. So input dot get axis axis times vector 3 dot right times speed times time dot delta time. So based on our input, we go to the right by our speed, and we want it in seconds rather than frames. That's what that means. So we save this and apply this to our cube. And hit play. We should have a cube that moves left and right when we hit left and right on the keyboard, and it moves very, very slowly. So I'm going to actually make this 6, I think is a good default. So there we go. We can move a cube around. Cube's moving around. Sweet.
Look at it go.
So now we're going to actually start looking at the networking portion of things. We're going to jump right in. So we're going to need a network manager first. So I'm going to create an empty game object. I'm going to name it network manager. And we're going to add a game component. We're going to add Network Manager HUD. Now, there's Network Manager and Network Manager HUD. Network Manager HUD is kind of a helper. And actually, if you add Network Manager HUD, you'll see that it adds a Network Manager automatically. It requires that. So it adds a Network Manager, and then it adds Network Manager HUD. And this does something immediately. So if we hit play...
You know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should have the resizable windows and that other option on our build settings right now before we forget.
I already did it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was the first thing I did.
Oh, man.
All right, cool. So
sweet.
I'm ahead.
I was looking at the chat.
So no worries. So Network Manager HUD, this already does something. It says show runtime GUI. If we hit play right now, we will get some stupid looking GUI stuff. There it is. LAN host, LAN client, LAN server, enable matchmaker. We're not going to touch the matchmaker. We're going to just do some hosting and clienting. So this gives us the tools to actually start something networked. So what we're going to do now is... So I'm just going to go ahead and actually build and run real quick, even though we don't have much here. I'm going to add our current scene, and we're going to build and run, and we're going to call it network, and I'm just going to put it on the desktop, wherever the desktop is, desktop, save, and I'm going to replace the one that was already there. And this is not going to do a lot. I just want to see where we're at so that we see each step of the way what's happening. So we're going to dock this to the right, dock this to the left, And I'm going to go ahead and hit play here. And if we hit LAN host, you'll see that it says the player prefab is empty on the network manager. Please set up a player prefab object. And if I hit client here, you won't see anything because we don't have a little messaging window here. So, but it probably has some very similar error on the client as well. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we could find that out by making them a server, but I'm not going to bother. So, so let's actually start making something happen. So what it wants is in network info. No, not network info. In network manager spawn info. There it is. In spawn info, there's a player prefab thing that you can do here, and they do this for the ease of just making drop-in multiplayer. That's actually really cool. We're going to have drop-in multiplayer by the end of not very long here.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
It just works. So we're going to need a player. So I'm going to call this cube a player. We're going to drag it in here. And we're going to look at the network manager, and we're going to try to drag a player in here, but it's not actually going to work, and you'll see why in a second. So if I drag player in here, it says none, and then it's like network manager. Player prefab must have a network identity. So we're going to take the player, and we're going to add network identity. And before it asks, because it doesn't actually ask, we're also going to add a network transform. So network identity is used internally for actually deciding what object is where, who controls it, etc. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of magic that's going on behind the scenes to make this networking stuff work. And so everything that moves in networking needs to have a network identity. Player especially needs it. Network transform means that if this object moves, we want other people to know that it moved. Mm-hmm. And so it handles that type of stuff for us. The other thing we're going to do here is we're going to set local player authority. Now, bear with me here. Local player authority means that when the player says, I want to move somewhere, the server's just like, okay, you totally moved there. If we don't have local player authority, the server has to handle things, and you have to kind of organize things a little bit differently. Ultimately, depending on the type of game you are making, you may have multiple objects that use local player authority, things that you don't really care that much about, special effects especially, and then things that you care a lot about will probably be server authority. You can have games that are entirely player authoritative. As a matter of fact, Elite Dangerous is a really good example of a game that is mostly peer-to-peer local authority. There is some server stuff for like transactions and stuff, but when you get into the space combat, it's just like, hey, I hit you. It's like, okay, I believe you. So we're going to use local player authority because it's a little bit simpler set up.
That's actually how like things like Call of Duty typically do,
yes.
right?
Yeah, well, actually a lot of games use it.
We're basically like,
and a lot of people really complain about it because the problem is it's not a problem when you're playing. It's a problem when people are hacking. Mm-hmm. Because it basically means that if you tell the local machine, hey, I hit you for 1,000 damage, and it's authoritative on the local machine, the server's just going to be like, I'll allow it, and 1,000 damage gets sent across. So
and that's exactly why Call of Duty, the games like Call of Duty, can get hacked and have that exact issue.
But it's also a lot faster because you don't have to communicate with a server, and there's not a middleman involved. Yeah. But so there's pluses and minuses. And as I said, you can have a mix of authoritative aspects in a game. It doesn't have to be 100% server and 100%
so there's
client.
A question regarding the freeness of the networking.
So we were discussing that before the show. I actually thought that it was just free, and I would imagine that it is, with the exception of the matchmaking server, which I'm sure that service is going to cost money. However, don't quote me on that because, as I said, we were discussing before the show. I have not actually done. I didn't do the full research before, so I'm sorry. I assumed that it was just all free. Other than, as I said, the matchmaking server. That's something they're running. Like it's something that's going to have to cost. So
if at some point it doesn't become free, or if it does, we don't have any affiliation with Unity. Yeah. So whatever they decide to do is what they're going to decide to do.
So we're going to delete our player from the scene because the network manager actually automatically handles spawning the players. And so we're going to put our player prefab in here. And if we hit play, what you'll see is we'll have an empty scene. And if we do LAN host, instantly we have a player. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and build and run again so that we have our second copy. And we're going to see what we got going so far. So if we go to 800 by 600 and go windowed and play, drag this over here, drag this over here. And so we're going to LAN host over here. Bam. And so you see that we have our thing there. And then if we do LAN client, bam. So localhost just means connect to the machine that we're on. It defaults to that so for ease of development. So you can see when the second person connected, both the players are here. If I move, though, we've got a problem. So on this machine, it moves both of the objects, but only updates one of them on the other. And I bet you it's going to be similar on the other side. So yeah, it's moving both of the objects, but it's only updating on the other. Now the reason for this is because one of these objects is owned. Remember, we said that the clients are the authoritative here. This is local authority. So it's saying, I totally moved my little object. And then also it's like, this script says move when I press the keyboard. So I'm going to just move both of them. And then this one's like, oh, okay, so you're moving your object. Cool. And it doesn't get the other thing because it's like, this isn't his object. It doesn't care. And so that's why we're getting this discrepancy. So we have to change our code to be network aware to fix this problem. So it's actually a very simple change. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to our move thing. The first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add a new using directive. And actually, I'm going to add it above system collections because I like to have the Unity stuff first and then all the other stuff afterwards. So using Unity engine .networking. So we have to explicitly say that we want that. So now we want that. We got that. So one of the things that networking includes is a new type of mono behavior called network behavior, which we are now going to derive from rather than mono behavior. I think network behavior probably derives from mono behavior. Let's find out, actually. Let's go to declaration just for the fun of it because we can. It might not derive from it. Yes, it does. Network behavior derives from mono behavior. So it's a type of mono behavior, but it has a bunch of extra cool stuff that's networking related. So one of the extra cool stuff that it has is we can check, and actually I want to double check my magic words, is local player. Okay, that's the magic word we're going to use right now. So if is local player. So if this script is running on our machine on an object that is the local player, then we send this information. Mm-hmm. So this is basically meaning that we're not going to try to move both blocks. We're only going to move the block that is our local player. So if we save and go back in here and we build and run.
And we do have to build because we have to run an executable to be on the local host.
It's a little bit longer on the testing thing, but it's not much. It's pretty sweet. So here we go. We're going to hit play. We're going to go LAN host. And so we got our first player in here. And then we're going to do LAN client. And we got our second player here. Look at that!
They now don't fight with each other.
Ship it. We have a multiplayer game. Okay, that's the end of the episode, everyone. We're going to go home.
Yeah, have a good night.
That's not true. We're going to do more. But...
welcome back.
But, yes, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. You can always donate to the Patreon. It's cookingwithunity.patreon.com.
Buy Phil's game, beat his high score.
Buy my game, beat my high score.
All right.
Follow me on Twitter at Magmalemur. Follow Max on Twitter at Dragfire.
All right, new episode. So... we're gonna add some more stuff. So we need to add some shooting. Let's make the shooty happen.
Let's do the shooty.
So boom. Let's create a new script called.
It's kind of like chitty bang bang, but not quite the same.
And we're gonna set this up the normal way first, and then we're gonna play around with the networking way. So first of all, public. We're gonna need a game object bullet, and that's all we're gonna do. And we're gonna need a button to press. So. Public string button equals fire1. I like that one because it's built in and it's already set up for us, so we don't have to do anything special. If you just create a new project, you already have fire1 defined. You already have horizontal defined. That's the reason we didn't have to do anything special there. So, what we're going to do here is we're just going to instantiate our bullet at transform. Whoops, lowercase transform. Come on.
Is that a comma?
Dot position. It is a comma. It's right. It's just it's mono develop. It's not me. For once. For once, as if.
No, it's just it's not. It's mono development. That's not me.
Let's not do quadrivium.
This reminds me of the "it's not you, it's me" conversations. It's not you, it's me. It's mono develop. It's not me.
Yeah, we're gonna do transform dot rotation here. So it's going to rotate. It's going to have the same orientation and same position of the object that calls this shoot thing. And I'm going to save this, and then we're going to very quickly create another script called move forward.
I think we should go back to the other script real quick.
Okay.
Not that one.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah. And make it so it's not instantiating a new bullet every update.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Very good call. Yeah. We actually don't want to do that unless input.getButtonDown button. Good catch. Don't want to be spamming that instantiate.
No one wants to spam.
That can get ugly quick. So thank you very much for that catch, Jeffrey.
We actually call it spam stantiate.
Spam stantiate. I like that. So I'm going to create a really quick script called move forward. All this is going to have is a speed, float, public float speed equals 1.0 f, and all it's going to do is transform dot position plus equals. This time we're going to use transform dot forward. So this is the local transform dot forward. It's not forwarded in the scene. It's forward as according to the object itself. Times speed times time dot delta time. Save. We're going to create a new prefab. We're going to create this sphere.
So that's why you did transform.rotation instead of quaternion.identity.
It is, because I wanted to be able to determine the direction it goes based on the direction our players are facing or something. And what else am I going to do? I'm going to put shoot on here. No, not shoot. That's not what I wanted to do at all. I want to put move forward on here. I'm going to call this a bullet. I'm going to create a prefab. I'm just going to quickly test to make sure that it does something. It should just start flying off, okay, very slowly into the horizon there. I'm going to delete this bullet. We're going to make it a lot faster. Let's make it 10.0. 15. Bullets should be fast. And now what we're going to do is we're going to on player put shoot and save scenes, build and run. And remember, we haven't added the networking magic here. We just want to see what happens. We're just going to play around with what's going on in the system. So play, drag this over here, drag that over there.
It's drag and drop.
Drag and drop. LAN host, LAN client.
No, there's
so I can move right, I can move left. And now what happens if I choose shoot? Okay, so I just shot, and it says variable bullet of shoot has not been assigned, so that's my bad. Yeah, I do really want to quit. So we're going to go back to player, and in the shoot script, we're going to give it a bullet. I'm going to do this one more time. Save scene, save project, build and run. And 800 by 600, windowed play.
Windowed play.
Windowed play. I hate the like when it resizes. I'm sure that it's a bug that they weren't really expecting you to resize during that thing, but I hate that it looks like cracks on my screen. It's kind of freaking me out. So you saw that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
I'll see it next time, I'm sure.
So LAN client, we're going to do this. Okay, now we're going to hit fire. And both of them fire. Kind of could expect that. But not on the other screen. And then the same thing over here. If we go over here, yeah, both of them fire, but not on the other screen. So it's doing... So we have both problems that we had before, right? We have the problem that it's controlling both because we didn't check to see if it's is client or is server or whatever, or some equivalent. And it's not instantiating on the other because we basically just said instantiate. That doesn't actually mean anything in the networking context. It just locally instantiates something. So what we're going to do on shoot is we're going to add the check if is local. Oh wait, we can't add that yet. We're going to add using Unity Engine networking, and we're going to make sure this is a network behavior. So now that we have a network behavior here, we can use if is local player. I'm just going to do this because this is one part of the equation. I'm not going to show what will happen. I'm going to tell you what will happen here. So all this will do is make it so that when we shoot, it'll only shoot on one of them. It still won't fix the problem of not shooting on the other thing. I'm going to just not show that test, but trust me, that's probably
what'll happen.
You can test it yourself. So if you're playing around, if you're playing from home, so this will get you that. But we need to actually tell the other objects, hey, we wanted to shoot something.
The clients, actually. You have to let the clients know that something is happening.
This requires two things. This requires a code change, and it requires a prefab change. The prefab change is, in Network Manager, there's an additional little section here in Spawn Info called Registered Spawnable Prefabs. If you have something that you want to spawn in the game, it's probably going to have to be in this list, unless you don't want to network it. So now you might say, like, what would you not want to network?
Particles.
Maybe a particle effect or something. You know, maybe there's different things that you don't care about. Certain little details and stuff. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw a bullet in here. It can't be added as a spawnable object because it does not have a network ID. So we're going to add... Actually, I'm going to try something. If I add network transform, does it automatically give me a network identity? It does. So network identity is required by network transform, so you don't even have to do network identity, then network transform, it'll just add both. And I think we still want local player authority
I think so too.
on these things.
I'm
just going to preemptively click that for right now.
I'm actually pretty sure we
project. Do. And we're going to go and add this to our... Oh, it does open. Oh, I could have done that. All right. We're going to add this to our list of registered spawnable prefabs. So we now have Bullet as a registered spawnable prefab. So we save this, save project, and what we're going to do next is we need to tell the server, hey, I spawned something. So game object instance equals instantiate as game object. So now we have a little instance that we can do stuff with, and what we're going to do with this instance is we're going to call another magic word, network server.spawn. And this takes an instance of an object that you've already instantiated and basically says, hey, we're going to just put this on all of the machines. So we spawn our instance.
All it does is send a signal to the client.
Yes.
Basically just saying, like, or to the server saying, hey, spawn this for everyone.
So network server.spawn instance, there we go. We're going to save. And we're going to save scene.
We're going to build this.
Save project, build, and run. It does all that fancy building stuff. We click all these buttons because it doesn't save these for some reason. And move it over here, move it over there. See those cracks on my screen?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. So we go to LAN host, LAN client, and hopefully if we hit shoot, it didn't work.
Didn't work this time. So now we have to figure out what's wrong.
All right, so first check the usual suspects. Did I save? I did save.
Well, the left one was firing on both of them, I think.
Was it?
Was it? I don't know.
Hold on, it might have been. Let's check. Where's that networking thing that I just ran? Network. Window, play. Let's check both of them.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
I probably just messed something up. Don't worry. But
it probably doesn't expect to be resized right then.
So that's that. And oh, it does fire on both on this one.
Yeah.
So maybe... Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to go to my magic word list. So the magic words that we're missing is command. So what we want to have happen is instead of... So what we actually want to have happen is we don't want the player to say, I've instantiated something, spawn it. We want only the server to do it. But we want the server to do it even if another player asks for it. So what we need to do is we're going to go into shoot here. And we need to actually break this out into a function. So I'm going to create a function down here. We're going to call it void shoot. And we're actually going to add it. We're going to prepend command cmd shoot. This is not a requirement. You do not have to put cmd before your thing. This is an organizational construct. They used it in the Unity examples. I'm going to use it. I think it's probably a good concept because it'll let you know, hey, this is a command right off the bat. You don't have to worry about it. So the way that you actually tag something as a command, though, is you type command. This is the important part. Name doesn't matter. This matters. And what command means is when this gets called, when you call this function, instead of calling the function locally, it will actually call the function on the server, no matter who calls it. So we're going to do command shoot here. And we're going to grab this logic and throw it into our command shoot here. Save all.
Save it and build it.
Build it.
Save it and build it.
Save scene, build and run. And we're going to go into 800 by 600, windowed, play. Made with Unity. Cracked screen. All right, so hit play, LAN host, LAN client, and if we shoot, look at that. We've got bullets going on both machines.
It's pretty cool.
And only the one that we're controlling shoots.
So what's the error, do you know?
Which error? Oh, invoke command, network transform doesn't match shoot. What is that error? Invoke command class move doesn't match shoot. Network transform doesn't match shoot. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and look it up. It's not causing us a problem.
Shoot isn't even our function name.
Yeah, it's the name of our class.
Oh, okay.
Now, there's a question: does the command tag indicate that the function is an RPC?
It's like an RPC. It's actually a higher level construct than an RPC. We're going to actually do an RPC as well. Mm-hmm. So remote RPC is a remote procedure call, and honestly, I don't know enough about their commands. I think command internally is an RPC. It's a specialized form that does some logic for you behind the scenes. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's how it's working. So what does this mean? Let's see what the internet has to say. You have two different components on the same game object, and each of these components send a command to the server. Two or more network behaviors on the same object that have commands on them. But we only have one object, or do we have two on... Okay, let's look at our player. Did I do something wrong? Did I put shoot on here twice? No, shoot's on here once.
Shoot isn't also on the...
Move is on here as well, but move doesn't have a command. Huh. So, what is calling it? Here, I just want to... We're sidetracking, but I'm okay with that. It's a play around. We gotta flex our stuff here. So invoke command. So it's happening when we shoot on the other machine. Does it happen when we shoot on this machine? Only happens when we shoot on
the client side.
Well, a non-server.
Let's check the player. The two players that we have.
So looks pretty standard. Looks pretty standard. Magic stuff in there. All right. So what we're seeing is move doesn't match shoot.
And network transform.
Network transform. That's a weird one. Network transform doesn't match shoot.
Maybe they have command.
But the weird one is move doesn't appear to have a command unless there's some implicit command in something what we're doing, which I wouldn't think would be the case. But weird. Let's see. See if anyone else says. Unity. Actually, I shouldn't use move doesn't match shoot because that doesn't help us.
X doesn't match Y.
I'm just gonna do.
That was the first.
Yeah.
result.
His X doesn't match Y.
Yeah,
that was what it was called. See, invoke command. They even got it, even though I gave it this horrific, filled up.
Yeah,
thing.
It's X doesn't match Y. Wow. I mean, that's exactly what the error is we're getting. It's just a different context. Same thing last night. And it's still successfully sent, but you get the error. Seems like... I don't know.
All right, we're going to ignore it for now. But that's a good question. Question of the day is invoke command error spam. Don't know quite what's going on there.
Well, it seems to be calling... it looks like networking network identity. Unit scripting.
It's like any component on there on the
maybe it's because
non-server.
Yeah. It's hitting it twice.
Yeah, it's hitting it once for move and once for network transform, which are both components. Like if let's just do something here. This is stupid. I'm just doing it, and I'm only going to do it on one machine. So who knows what this will even do? But let's put move forward on here and see if. This probably won't work because I didn't do it on the. Actually, okay. So let's test something here. It's line client. So yeah, I think I have to rebuild. Let's rebuild real quick.
Okay.
Got the players moving forward like idiots. Build and run.
They're on a march. Death march.
Yep.
That's the highest difficulty in The Witcher 3.
Death march?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Oh, you played it?
I have played it. I have not beaten it, but I've played it.
It's a big game.
All right, so we got this thing going. We got this thing. They're going. They're moving around like idiots. No, it didn't show on the other thing. It didn't show on move forward. I was hoping.
Is move forward a network script?
Oh, it's not.
It's not a network behavior, is it? I bet if you change it to a network behavior, it would appear there.
All right, let's check that. Move forward. Using Unity Engine networking. Network behavior. Save. Build and run. Window play. Play. Host. Client. Still not showing there. Weirdness.
Yeah, it's probably something.
I did save this, right? I'm not crazy, right? Yeah, it's saved.
Yeah. I don't know.
Why would it do on a move? Doesn't make any sense.
Probably a bug. I keep getting the RI hid failed to get pre-parsed data errors. They don't mean anything really, I think. Okay. It probably is just a bug.
All right. It's bug spam.
It could very well be something that they're assuming in one of their system calls. It's probably a bug.
Yes.
Seems like it is. Because it seems to work and build correctly. It's just interfering with itself somehow.
All right, so we have this thing.
Are we getting rid of the move forward?
We're going to get rid of the move forward on the player.
That would be great.
Player, move forward, remove that. All right, so let's see. So the next part we haven't practiced. This is as far as we've actually physically practiced. So the rest of this may end up tripping.
20 minutes
and
it
might just be trip on the face, fall down. But that's okay. Just get back up, brush yourself off, try it again. So what we got to do is we're going to now make it so that we can hit each other in some way. So let's set it up the non-networked way first. Let's make a couple of minor changes first. So in our move thing, I'm actually not going to change anything. So what I am going to change though is networking. So spawning is based on spawn positions. So we're going to try something here. This is something that we didn't even look at. So hopefully it'll actually work. So there is in here. We do spawn method round robin.
Round robin?
All right. So what I'm looking for here is we have a player prefab. So run in background, don't just round load, log level.
Wait, how many things have a network manager on them?
Just the network manager.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
the rest of the things have a network identity or a network transform.
Still thinking about that error.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, so going to go into the network. So what's advanced configuration? Oh, yeah. No, I'm not touching that. Use network simulation. Not going to touch that. Where do we get the spawn positions?
It says commands and network behaviors cannot be used in subclasses of those network behaviors.
Commands and network behaviors cannot be used in subclasses of network behavior. So does that mean this should not be a network behavior? This should be instead a
mono behavior.
Let's just see if that fixes it.
Because it derives from the network behavior?
Well, because this isn't part of the network behavior. This is part of the networking. The command thing is part of networking. And we're not actually calling anything like we are checking is local player here. So we do need network behavior there.
Yeah.
Unless we don't need to check his local player, which I'm certain we do. So I'm going to actually go back to network behavior. You can do that test if you wish. Save all. But I think that we need that. So where did I see it? Maybe they put it in here. Network start position. That looks promising. So right now, if we hit play, you'll notice that the player will spawn probably at the origin. Is that what's happening? Yes, that's what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if we create a network spawn position, so we're going to create a new... This is completely by the seat of the pants right here.
Sweet.
So this we're going to call this new... no, just call it spawn 1. Spawn point 1. We're going to give it a component of network start position. And we're going to put it at y -5 or -3. That should still be on screen pretty good. And all we're going to do now is if we hit play and we hit LAN host, showed up at -3. Good sign.
Else.
What do you want to try?
What about the rotation?
Oh, what about the rotation? Good question. That's actually something I wanted to change anyway. So we're going to change the orientation of this so that actually I'm going to bring some. Actually, I'll just look at it in the scene. There we go. So I'm going to point it so that it's facing up. It's funny. I knew exactly that it was 90 degrees in the X after I saw this, but for some reason I couldn't figure it out when I didn't have the visual aid. So so if we hit play right now, and we hit LAN host, and we shoot.
Now we're shooting.
So it takes both the orientation and the position into account. So
pretty cool.
Wherever you put these spawn points, when a player spawns in, they spawn at one of these spawn points. So what we were looking at there in the network manager, the reason I was digging around here is because I thought it was something that you had to do in here, but it's not. It's just something you attach to another object. But in the spawn info, there's this nice little thing. Player spawn method. So random would mean that it randomly picks one of the spawn points that you have in your scene. Round robin means it will pick the first spawn point and then the next spawn point. I'm not sure how it determines which is first and next, but it will cycle through all of them and then probably recycle after that. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate our spawn point.
I'm assuming you could modify this so you could actually use a script to determine the spawn position if you had like a network-heavy game that you always wanted to spawn someone away from the other players.
Yes. So there's probably a lot of advanced stuff that you can do in this system, but we're using all the basic built-in cool stuff right now.
Just suggesting
that they have all of these.
I do too. It's really cool.
Yeah, this is quick setup, man.
I've used Photon and Bolt, and in both of those you have to do all of this stuff
kind of
manually.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive because it made networking fairly easy to use.
So I'm going to put spawn point 2 up at 3. Yep, and we're going to rotate it the other way around.
Instead of -90.
And what's nice is move is not using the relative location. We're using vector 3.right. And the reason I did that is because I figured we were going to flip this thing upside down, and we didn't want the person who's on the top to have reverse controls. So this will make sure that they both control left is left and right is right, but one's on top, one's on bottom. So let's see if this all works. So we're going to save the scene, save the project. It's kind of a 2-player Space Invaders. It's going to be the dumbest game in the world. But it's an example.
I don't know if it's the dumbest game in the world.
I guess that's true. There's a lot of really dumb games, aren't there? Like Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird.
All right, play. Actually, the concept of Flappy Bird is not bad. It's just...
And it doesn't have multiplayer.
Yeah. What if it was multiplayer Flappy Bird?
Actually, that's what we should be making. Why are we doing this? We should be playing 2-player where you can't hit anything, including the other player. It just is horrible.
And you both are moving.
Yeah, just like yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Spot.
You have to just fit right between those things. Yeah.
That would be horrible.
So we spawned in, and so notice it decided to use the spawn point 2. So as I said, okay, so I think it probably uses transform order. So if we go to transform sort, I'm just curious, and we drag this so that it's underneath spawn point 2. Let's see if it'll choose spawn point 1.
Nope,
did not.
Still chose spawn point 2. I wonder what's causing that. What causes its determination of which one to go?
Yeah. We'll have to explore that at a later date.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't really matter.
Server now evidently is going to be at the top. So if the LAN client... Oh, wait, we didn't build, did we? Did I build?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think I built.
Click it.
All right.
Looks like
it built. So we can shoot, and it does this thing, and then we move left and right here, and we can shoot, it does this thing. Sweet. It's working. It's amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
Why does it feel like... Oh, I know why it feels like it's not centered. Because the freaking camera by default is at 1. Because someone thought that was cool. And they were wrong. So...
Cool. It's not cool.
So since they automatically...
Save project.
Since they automatically keep the transforms in sync, do they also have it built in to where they'll lerp the position so that it's not...
So it's not as chunky looking as we saw there? So let's take a look at that. That's a good question. So if we go to the player, we've got some options. We didn't tweak any of the options on the network transfer. We just threw it on there and hoped for the best. And we got pretty good for hoping for the best.
Yeah.
So we've got some magic stuff here. We've got network send rate. So this is probably the amount, I don't know exactly.
I bet you should...
Wait, maybe it says...
Try to...
Seconds.
Yeah.
So 9...
Oh, let's lower that.
So that's probably 9 times per second. It's a rate, right? So 9 times per second is updating.
So let's try it higher.
So we could do it higher, and that would probably smooth it out. But let's not do that just yet. So if we look at sync transform, so we have sync transform. So there's also a sync rigid body. So that's this if you were like doing physics stuff. Right now we're just doing transform stuff, so that's appropriate. Movement threshold and snap threshold.
There
Interpolate movement factor.
Let's pump that up.
That's good. So movement threshold, I'm assuming, is the
the minimum or the error, the minimum movement before it turns.
So if you increase that number, it probably makes it so that the amount of data being sent is lower, but
ultimately,
you could end up having
someone move a small amount and not actually move. Okay, and then the interpolate movement snap threshold. What do you think that is?
The snap is if you get out of sync and someone ends up being like 10 units off, then instead of trying to continue the lerp, it would snap to the position because it's greater than 5.
It's more than this units off, it does a snap. That makes a lot of sense. So like if someone pulled their internet connection for a moment and we're like, oh man, and then plugged it back in. After 5 seconds, even if they were moving, it'll snap immediately then.
Yeah. And
then the interpolate movement factor is probably some smoothing factor. Do you think it's positive or negative? Do you think it's like it's like say factors? So, do you think 10 would be more smooth or less smooth?
I have no idea because the other things I'm just going off of what I've seen from other systems.
Let's experiment then. Let's go ahead and run.
As far as interpolating, I've either had to manage the transforms myself and do the lerping and stuff myself, or they handle it and then just kind of have a checkbox as to whether or not to lerp. So I haven't actually seen a lerp factor.
So this is going to be harder for you guys at home than us because we're going to be relying on stuff that's frame rate dependent, and you guys are watching a video that's at 15 frames per second, and we're running at 60. So on yours, it might look exactly the same on these two things. They're not. One of the left screen here is moving real slow when I move it on the right here, and this is moving real smooth. So we can see how chunky it is. It's pretty chunky. Let's see what happens if we rebuild with a higher value in the interpolate movement.
I'm sure
factor.
we could do some of this stuff via script too if we really wanted to get very fancy.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that you can override, and there's a lot of stuff that you can take direct control over if you need. That being said, I like that this stuff has this already built in nicely.
I also do.
This is the kind of thing that I was hoping for the old networking system. When I started using it, I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, what is this all about?
So we're going to build and run.
I wonder if interpolate factor is intended to be a 0 to 1 scale.
That's why I was this.
Why you're trying 10.
The reason I'm trying 10 is actually because I'm assuming it's not a 0 to 1 scale, because if it was a 0 to 1 scale, I have a feeling I'm not going to guarantee it, but I have a feeling that the Unity guys would probably have made it a slider between 0 and 1. Just going to guess on that. So
Especially
because I'm assuming
since
I'm assuming this is a slider between 0 and 60, right? No, 29. Weird. All right.
I don't know that the Unity guys would do that, but the person from Unity who made this script specifically would probably do it.
Exactly.
They did it above.
Yeah. So land client. So now we're going to move, and it looks exactly the same with the 10 interpolate movement. So let's try doing the opposite way. Let's try interpolate movement. Let's try 0.1. I did rebuild, right? I hope I did.
I'm assuming you did.
I don't
You tend to run it from
there rather than
rebuilding.
double clicking it. Yeah,
I think I only saw you double click the icon once.
Like once, yeah. It was an appropriate time to do it. All right. So we're gonna hit host. We're gonna hit client. Still pretty chunky. Still pretty chunky. It's shot because of the clicking. That's funny. Let's try it one more time, just in case.
Cool. It's drop in, drop out.
Yeah, it's drop in, drop out, multiplayer.
Yes,
as a matter of fact, actually, let's see. Can I run multiple instances right now?
I want to know the round robin. Do a host over here.
Okay.
On the left, and then drop in on the right, drop out on the right, and then drop in on the right again.
Yes, I know what you're.
Okay, drop in on the right. Okay, there we go. Drop out.
Drop back in on the right,
and then drop back in.
Yep.
Okay.
And round robin totally went to that spawn point again. So not
there's
optimal always.
There's not a lot of logic in this
Yeah.
round robin. It is literally just that.
But it is already there for you to fool around with.
Exactly.
So.
And you could set up a lot of different spawn points.
All right, I'm going to do one more at 10 here, just in case I did run it wrong. I don't think I did, but just for the sake of science.
Science.
It's 600 window to play. Land host.
Yeah, that really is weird how it rebuilds that window when you resize it like that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to care. It's like that factor thing. Whatever it does nothing.
We should open the script and see if it does anything anywhere.
So
it's just a public variable.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we probably can see on this one. If we go to edit script here, I imagine that we're going to be into our assemblies here. Let's find out though, for the fun of it.
Just for funsies.
It's probably just going to show our public availabilities. So
what's it doing?
It's thinking.
What's it thinking about?
It's thinking about not showing anything. I'm not sure if it's not thinking. Why can't I?
It's not a real window.
Let's try it again. I want edit script. Okay, it doesn't like it at all.
Huh.
Weird. If I go to move, okay. Whatever. All right, I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, not at the moment.
So, what else are we going to do? So, use network, max delay, match host, network address, network port. Let's see if there's other things. Project settings. Is there networking? There's networking. Send rate 15. Debug level off. Informational full. That might be useful at some point. I'm going to leave it as off right now. So let's try pumping the send rate and just see what that does for fun. So I'm going to make a guess. This is just a guess, so don't hold me to this. Remember, I'm learning this stuff too. So I'm going to guess that the interpolate movement thing relies on
you can't
a rigid body
DLLs
system.
In monodevelop.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I'm going to guess that interpolate movement probably relies on rigid body. Wouldn't surprise me too much. So because in rigid body, you know that you have a velocity and stuff. When you're dealing with transform, it's just like, hey, I want to move it a little bit right here. It doesn't know that you want to move it, which direction you want to move it very well. I mean, it could guesstimate, but it would have to do a bunch of basically linear algebra stuff in the background to figure out what's going on. And you might not want that. So I'm going to guess that this should probably be hidden when you say sync transform, and it just does nothing if you don't have sync transform.
Yeah.
Don't hold this against me if it's not the case. So let's try network send rate. Let's bring it to 29 and just see how this goes. Save scene, save project, build and run. Obviously, this is going to increase the amount of network traffic. This is not the optimal way of solving things. You want to be as light a touch as possible on networking, if possible. So, but we're just doing some experimentation here to see how things work. So we're going to go to LAN client, and does that look smoother?
It does look smoother.
Yeah, it is smoother. It's just still very chunky because we can't set it to 60 for some reason. And actually, that probably makes a lot of sense. Maybe this is actually based on network send rate 29 messages, which would be
almost 30 frames per
so
second.
What happens if we do? I'm just curious if we go to networking and we set send rate to 60 here.
Just for
Does
fun?
that make it so that we can do another value here? What if I manually set it to 60? It won't let me do that. So you're stuck in 29 land. Let's just see if that actually makes it a little smoother, though. Let's see if it
never hurts to try it.
Brought something with it. So close this, quit. Build and run. And we're going to go 800/600 windowed play. Play. Host. Connect. Looks about the same as the last one.
Yeah. Looks like it's kind of stuck at 29, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. So what was the other thing that we were going to look at? So sync var client RPC. And what that was going to do is, like, if we take damage, we were going to sync the thingy. Well, it's been an hour. How are you guys feeling? You feeling like another 15 minutes?
I don't know if I could do another 15.
All right. Fair enough.
I unfortunately do have to get up early tomorrow.
No worries, man. So we're gonna call it a show. I'm going to go ahead and save the scene.
I think we should pick up this networking stuff again. Actually,
we will.
I'm really excited to see more of it.
We will do more of this. Don't know the schedule yet, but we will do more of this. I'm going to bring this back to. I hate you. Whoever did this, I hate them.
Yeah.
All right. Save scene, save project. I no longer trust that they're going to do 0 to 1 sliders after that just happened. I don't trust them at all. All the trust just went out the window.
Yeah.
All right. So save scene. I'm just going to make sure that we're not in a bad state. I'm pretty sure this is still running, but we're just going to give it a shot. Play. Whoops.
That was full screen.
That was a little too much screen there. All right. So I'm going to correctly run this manually there. Window, play, play, land. This guy can move, he can shoot, he looks chunky, perfect. This guy can move, he can shoot, he looks chunky, perfect. All right, good enough. So, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Sorry it has been so long between episodes, but it's been hectic in my life. It's the series of ups and downs. I'll tell you the story sometime. So, in my best-selling novel, no, I'm kidding. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, please email me, pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire. That's DRAKFYRE. Mm-hmm. You should also buy Phil's game, Robot Alone, on iOS.
Maybe someday I'll make it for the Android. Maybe someday. Who knows? Anything could happen. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's at MagmaLemur. And you know what you should do? Besides following me on Twitter, besides buying Robot Alone, you should donate to Cooking with Unity. That's right. You can go to patreon.com/cookingwithunity, right?
That's right.
And you could also click the link on the homepage of Cooking with Unity on YouTube. That's by the hamburger. And I don't remember what else I need to say. It's been too long.
Your high score.
Oh yeah, be my high score on Robot Alone, people. Come on. Been the high score forever in that game. I'm even rusty at it now.
So, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. This is awesome. It's good to see you guys again. And have a great one. We'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Good night, everyone.
Banter time. All right, so let's go ahead and put it back on the screen. I'm going to put a link in the description as well, but I recommend, not Reddit, Unity 5.x networking. There it is. So I recommend, I'm going to put this in the description right now. Watch page. All right. For more.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
For more.
There are a lot of people that are really happy that we're back.
Check out this video as well from Unity themselves. We used that for everything on this episode, with the exception of what was the thing that we figured out on our own? Oh, the spawn points.
Yeah,
that was easy enough that we didn't even need to know how to do it. So
yeah, we will probably actually be referencing that video a little bit more.
Yes. Yeah. We did this really short notice just because I wanted to get an episode done and I wanted it to be networking and I wanted to see how this stuff worked. Yeah. And so yeah. What else? I guess that's it.
I don't know.
30 minutes. Evidently, we've only been broadcasting for 30 minutes.
That is not true.
If we hit refresh, it'll say...
30 minutes.
An hour. Yeah, that's much closer. That's much closer to what we've been broadcasting. Probably exact, even. How long do we usually spool for? I forget. I don't remember how to do this show.
Yeah, how do we show?
Thank you for remembering 720p, by the way, because I totally was going to space on that.
Yeah, I remember that stuff.
Yeah, that's good, because I had totally messed that up.
I think part of it is we start to see the comments are referring to things that we said during banter time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then realize it's a good time to stop.
Yeah, okay. So
I should port Robot Alone to the new 3DS. That would be wicked.
That'd actually be awesome because it's like full circle. Because it's like Fioro, man.
I know.
You should call it Bird and Beans.
No, I can't. That would cringe on it.
Yeah.
But no, I actually was thinking about touching up Robot Alone. I'm not really happy with how the textures look in that game. I kind of want them to be more flat. Do a lot more particle stuff than I was doing because I was so limited at the time with what I could do.
Yeah.
So,
you were learning, man, and you did a great job on that project. So, anyway, that's enough banter. So, see you guys when we see yous in the futures. Woo!
Have a good one. Good night.